nonsense about you thinking that I'm all right, Jack, so I don't have to worry about anyone else. You are off.
That's right.
We are our brother's keeper, and our brother and sisters need to know you are in sin. And you're on the verge of complete and utter destruction. Go ahead, Ken.
And also we were trying to wake them up to them understanding. You have Asian getting hate laws passed, but you're sitting there glorifying yourself over a make-believe holiday. You see what I'm saying? They were so far from the truth and locked in a closet in a sense to where they're more suspicious of their brother than what's being posted in the governmental laws. And that's why we were out there to show our people how destroyed they are. And but it was still kind of pleasant because I think I can count on maybe 2 fingers how many people refuted a flight. You know, there was one wannabe scoffer, but when he understood that we are our brother's keeper, he ceased and desist because he understood, oh, it's not the case what you think it is. This is not Christianity. You know, this is no case of us trying to push on $1,000 seed.
Well, they've never met anyone like us before, and now when Cap had to go into history now to show him that, because he's trying to be a historian, so Cap had to go even deeper to show him that, listen, we come from a long way of history. We're not just here. We are scholars in this truth. And then he started to, back up a little bit.
Yeah, he backed up and said, you know what, I will check it out because you are right what you're saying. Because he posed about Marcus Garvey, he posed about Malcolm X, he posed about Martin Luther King, how all we had these so-called great leaders, but we still didn't get anywhere. You know how Jake does. Well, why should we bother, is what he was saying. I said, what are you talking about? Those men were on a path of discourse because of what they were taught, what they were led to believe to be true was way from the truth, right? So when we showed them some simple things for us, because the Most High is working us up to an understanding to where we are today, that where those men were, where those leaders were, that was way off. They were still trying to camaraderie all nations, and that's not biblical. Okay? The Most High separated the nations, right? To where He has Israel as above all nations. Okay? So that's what we were showing him, that this is not the case. So yeah, he backed up, recanted themselves, and said, you know what, I'll take a gander at it, and I love the fact that you guys are out here. But besides that, more so, the people were really forthcoming with receiving the flyers. Like I said, I can count on maybe two fingers who said, no, I'm good. I believe those people probably know what time it is. Just that the Most High is not dealing with them. But yeah, it was still good. It was still great. It was still eventful just to be in that presence among our people. And I give all honor and glory that the Most High had us out there and just to do the work, because that's what it's all about. This is a state of emergency, and that's why we did what we did, right? And the brothers were all engaging, all passing out flyers.
Brothers did well. Brothers
very well. And we went out 2 by 2s to make sure that everyone had a reader and everyone had a speaker, so everything was done in order. All praise to the Most High.
Come. To the Most High be the glory. Great things He has done. Brothers and sisters, at this time, let's get into the teaching. I'd like you to turn, if you please, to the book of Matthew chapter 25, verse
1. This is the book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bridegroom. And 5 of them were wise, and 5 were foolish.
Stop there. Now, can anyone tell me what is the significance of the 10 virgins? Can anyone tell me what is the significance of the 10 virgins? All right, go ahead, sir.
Grace and peace, sir.
Grace and peace.
I know 10 is a number of government. I never we see that number. And this, I know the similitude there is, I believe the similitude there is like looking at Israel on one side, the 5 wise and the 5 foolish, parts of our nation.
All right, let me keep it short. Let's go to Job chapter 19. Job chapter 19. And let's begin reading, if you please. 19, verse 3.
Come, the book of Job, chapter 19 and verse 3. These 10 times have ye reproached me. Ye are not ashamed that ye make yourselves strange to me.
So, what we must be aware of in our community of Israel, and generally speaking, so-called black people, we utilize something that is called figure of speech. It's rampant throughout our people. No matter where you go, what country you go, whilst our melanated people are there, we use figure of speech. If we haven't seen someone in a while, we say, "Hi, I haven't seen you in a minute." Now we know a minute is a short time, but we're really speaking about a long length of time. We use expression like that. And we'll say, catch you in the, what we say,
Flip side.
catch you up?
Catch you on the flip side.
Catch you on the flip side.
That's old school.
Yeah. I'm trying to kind of utilize the terms that.
Catch you on the flip.
So catch you on the flip side. Give me something else. What other expressions do we use that figurative? Yes, ma'am.
We got the bounce.
We're about
to bounce.
Yeah. Or if you don't like someone and they're still in you, say bounce.
Right.
Because it's an expression that we have.
Come.
Man, that's cold.
Right? And an expression. Someone says something that's ridiculed, we say, "No, that's cold." What else do we say? Give me something else. Give me something else.
Come on now.
Well, even what I'm saying is an expression of figure of speech. Give me something else.
Come.
We operate by figures of speech. Go back in some of our old movies. We used to use a lot of it back in the day. We still do today, but the language or the usage now has switched. And there's another generation on deck. So when we read Job chapter 19 and verse 3, let's read it again and hear what it says.
The book of Job, chapter 19 and verse 3. These 10 times have ye reproached me. Ye are not ashamed that ye make yourselves strange to
And
me.
you make yourself a stranger to me. Let's go, if you please, to 1 Samuel. Please, 1 Samuel, chapter 1. And let's read verse 7.
Yes, sir. The book of 1 Samuel, chapter 1 and verse 7.
Chapter 1 and verse 7. Let's make sure everybody's there first. I want everybody to read it and witness it for themselves. Go ahead.
1 Samuel, chapter 1, verse 7. And as he did so year by year, when she went up to the house of the Most High, so she provoked her. Therefore she wept and did not eat.
Read it out. Keep reading.
Then said Elkanah, her husband, to her, Hananiah.
Listen carefully now.
Then said Elkanah, her husband, to her, Hananiah, why weepest thou? And why eatest thou not? And why is thy heart grieved? Am not I better to thee than 10 sons?
See that? The husband is now saying, am I not better to you, my wife, than what?
Then, Salaki, than 10 sons?
Than what?
Than 10 sons.
10 sons. Okay. Now, let's go back, if you please, to Matthew.
Yes, sir.
Let's go back to Matthew.
From the top.
From the top.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 1. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins.
Unto what?
Unto 10 virgins.
So it says that the kingdom of heaven shall be likened unto 10 virgins. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. What does the word virgin imply? Can anyone tell me? Let's get some feedback from the sisters. What does it imply? Go ahead.
A young maiden of marriageable age.
A young maiden of marriageable age. Come. All right. So let's go to 1 Corinthians or 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 2. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 verse 2. Let's read.
The book of 2 Corinthians, chapter 11 and verse 2. It reads, Now I praise you, brethren, that ye remember me in all things.
2 Corinthians.
Salakia. 2 Corinthians chapter 11 and verse 2. For I am jealous over you.
I am what?
For I am jealous over you.
Go on.
With goodly jealousy.
Go on.
Salaki, with godly jealousy.
Go on.
For I have espoused you to one husband, that I may present you as a chaste virgin to Christ.
As a what?
As a chaste virgin to Christ.
To Christ. Go to Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 14.
Come. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 3 and verse 14.
Make good notes here.
Jeremiah chapter 3 and verse 14. It reads, Turn, O backsliding
Do
children.
what?
Turn, O backsliding children,
Go on.
saith the Most High.
Read.
For I am married unto you,
Go on.
and I will make, Salaki, and I will take you one of a city, and two of a family, and I will bring you to Zion.
To Zion. All right. So let's get back on track now. Let's begin to put this all together. So back in Matthew chapter 25 and verse 1, we're going to spend a little time on each verse because of the context of it, the information that we need to extract. Then shall the kingdom of heaven be likened unto 10 virgins, which took their lamps and went forth to meet the bride. All right. Explain to me, we already know what a virgin is, but now I want you to put it more on a term that we all understand. Sisters, Sister Brenda, what does a virgin imply to us now? To us now. In other words, everything in society is doing what it's doing. But as a virgin, we have to what?
We keep ourselves espoused.
Keep ourselves what?
Espoused.
Espoused to whom?
To the Most High.
To the Most High. So, in the society we live in today, we have to keep ourselves separate from the things that are around us. Why? Because those things have the ability to corrupt us, right? Are you with me, brothers? All right. So, if that is then the case, watch what it says next. So we understand virgin because we've had two examples of it there. Then it says, which took their lamps. So the lamp then, because everything written, it's not written by happenstance or accident. It's written for purpose and on purpose. Let's go to Proverbs. Or before that, let's go to Psalms. Yeah. Psalms chapter 119, 105.
Yes, sir.
Psalms 119, 105.
Come. The book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 105. Thy word is a lamp.
Thy word is what?
Thy word is a lamp.
Thy word is a lamp. Now, what does a lamp, what's its purpose? What do we use it for? Just the wonder.
To give light.
To give light? How? For what
Shine
purpose?
light. Bring light.
Yes, we've got light in here. But when is a lamp best used?
Oh, and light.
At night. So a lamp is best used in darkness, right?
Oh,
Because you do this, I know you do. Because if you don't have lamp or light in darkness, the tendency then is that you can find yourself doing what? If you can't see where you're going, what will you do? I'm dealing with sisters just for a moment, brothers. What is a tendency for you to do? Who said it? To fall. Because if you can't see what's in your path, you will fall over as you go. So we live in a world of darkness that we have to make sure we have light that guides us so that the path that we're taking, we're not going to fall over or trip. Con? All right. So with that in mind, now let's read Psalms again, please. Psalms 119, 105. Yeah.
The book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 105. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet.
Thy word is a what?
Is a lamp unto my feet.
Is a lamp unto my feet. Read.
And a light unto my path.
And a light unto my path. So this book is meant to light our way so we don't get tripped up by all the things that's hidden out there in darkness that could cause us to nigh lose our way. Come? So with that in mind, we have to also be mindful that that we have to look after the lamp. We have to look after it so that it's important at this point. And we have to keep in our mind that your lamp is important so you can't abuse it. And like anything that's good for your safety, you have to take proper precautions to keep it functional, right? Now I'm saying all this up front because we're going to go up a long hill in a moment, and I want you to know that you've got the basics together. Come on. Let's go to Job chapter 29 and 2, please. Job chapter 29 and verse 2. Let's go.
The book of Job, chapter 29 and verse 2. Job chapter 29 and verse 2. Oh, that I were as in months past, as in the days when God preserved me.
That he did what?
When God preserved me.
He preserved me. Go on.
When his candle.
With what?
When his candle.
With his candle. Go on.
Shined upon my head.
Go on.
And when by his light I walk through darkness.
I walk through darkness.
Come.
So we need the light in order for us to walk through darkness that we don't find ourselves tripping up.
Come.
Now you got to watch this thing. Now here you'll notice that the scripture vacillates between two different types: candle and lamp.
Come.
Lamp and candle.
Come.
A candle is a waxed object with a string in it that is self-burning and self-perpetuated. But a lamp requires two things for it to be functional. One is a wick. It's the source of where the light comes from, or I should say emanates from. But for the wick to remain functional, it must have oil. Now we'll get to the oil in just a moment, but oil is important. That's why the scripture uses the two types. It uses lamp and it uses candle. Read that again. Read number 3 again so we make sure everybody
Job chapter 29 verse 3. When his candle shined upon my head.
Go on.
And when by his light I walk through darkness.
I walk through darkness.
Come.
Because you can only walk through darkness by his light. Makes it clear, crystal clear. Proverbs chapter 6.
Yes, sir.
Let's go there. Proverbs chapter 6, 23. Let's read.
The book of Proverbs chapter 6, verse 23.
Read.
For the commandment.
For what?
For the commandment.
Go on.
Is a lamp.
So it's now telling you that the commandments is what?
Is a lamp.
It's a lamp. Go on.
And the law is light.
And the law is light. do I want to run in now? Let's hold up just for a little bit, because I'm going to preempt myself. So, read it one more time for me, please, sir.
Proverbs chapter 6, verse 23. For the commandment is a lamp.
So the commandments that we follow is a lamp.
Come.
Read.
And the law is light.
And the law that we follow and observe becomes light to us.
Come.
That means you, as the individual that the light is in, you become light. That's why the scripture says, ye are the light of the world.
Come.
Which world? Israel's world. We don't care about the rest of the world. We're caring about Israel because we must bring light to our people.
Come.
It's our people that's suffering. It's our people that's in degradation. So we bring light to them. Come. So that's important. Read it one more time if you don't mind. I just want to make sure everyone got that.
For the commandment is a lamp, and the law is light.
So the commandment is a lamp. Read.
And reproofs of instruction are the way of life.
So there's constant reproofs. Constant reproofs. That's why, what is a reproof? Quickly. Correction. Excellent. Correction. So that's why we have to be prepared to receive reproof. Don't take it personal. Reproof. Because it makes us better.
That's right.
Come on.
Come.
Because the more reproofs we have, that's what it says. And reproofs, S, of instruction are the way of life.
Come.
This is how we live. Because no one knows it all.
That's right.
When I was coming up, I was reproofed many times. Got no problems with it. Took it like a man. Kept moving forward.
That's right.
Made me, what I received back then, made me the man that I am now. Reproofs helps you. Don't take reproofs and take it personal.
Come.
You're missing the point. Come on.
Come.
If you have an athlete, what does the coach do? What is his job to do? Can you tell me, brothers, you, Johnny, because you were a coach.
He teaches. He teaches the right way.
So he teaches you, the right way, then what?
And he teaches you what not to do.
And he teaches you what not to do. Now, in between all of that, what are the other things that he's got to do? He's got to push you. Even when you don't want to go or do, he pushes you. To the point that you can become very aggressive with him. And he's not doing it on a personal level. He's doing it to help you become better.
That's right.
Come on. I'll talk about that in a moment. All right. From here, if you please, go back to Psalms chapter 18. Psalms chapter 18. Psalms chapter 18. Verse 28.
The book of Psalms, chapter 18, verse 28. It reads, For thou wilt light my candle.
The what?
For thou wilt light my candle.
Light my candle. Go on.
The Most High my God.
The most who?
The Most High my God.
Go on.
Will enlighten my darkness.
Will enlighten my darkness.
Come.
So right there, he's letting us know that our Father's job is to keep us safe. Otherwise, why would he give us life?
Come.
To keep us safe. Read it one more time if you please, sir.
The book of Psalms, chapter 18, verse 29. It reads.
No, 28.
Salaki, verse 28. It reads, For thou wilt light my candle. The Most High my God will enlighten my darkness.
So we've already read what that is, and it's told us there. Come on. It has told us, has it not?
Come.
Chapter 19 and 7.
19 and verse 7. The law of the Most High is perfect.
The law of the Most High is what?
Is perfect, converting the soul.
So what does it do? It converts the soul. Go on.
The testimony of the Most High is sure.
The testimony of what?
The Most High is sure.
Is sure. Doing what?
Making wise the simple.
Making wise simple people. Because basically we are simple people. We're simple people. We're not complicated people. Most High made us simple people, but not simple in the sense that you've got no sense. Not that type of simple. But simple as in He didn't make us complicated. He made His children to be like Him. And in case you don't get it, we, the children of Israel, are a reflection of Him on earth. That's what we are. We are a reflection of Him right here on earth. That's what we are. Come on? Whereas the angels are a reflection of Him in the heavens. Come on? But we are those who operate, we're His earth creatures. We're the ones that will carry out, especially in the kingdom age, we will carry out exploits beyond the imagination of any so-called human being. Come on? All right. So, any questions so far before I go further? Any questions? Any questions? All right. All right, let's move forward. From here, let's go to Proverbs chapter 10. Proverbs chapter 10. And we're going to read it from verse 18.
Verse 18. Yeah. The book of Proverbs, chapter 10, verse 18. He that hideth hatred with lying lips.
He what?
He that hideth hatred with lying lips, and he that uttereth a slander is a fool. Is a fool.
So we as a people then, there are certain qualities that we cannot allow ourselves to operate by. Hatred is a quality that we can't afford to have. Lying lips is a quality we can't afford to have. Because the scripture tells us that we as Israel should not lie to any one of ourselves, our brethren. And it says, and he that uttereth what?
He that uttereth a slander is a fool.
Is what?
Is a fool.
Is a fool. Hate does not belong to us. Now let's go back to Matthew chapter, let's read verse 2 now.
Yes, sir. The book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 2. And 5 of them were wise.
5 were wise.
And 5 were foolish.
Remember, this is a figurative amount. Because the truth is, there's going to be many who are wise. And many, that scripture lets us know that 2/3 are going to be really foolish. So we see it's already letting us know that this is all figurative. So we don't use it literal. Like there's 5 wise and 5 foolish. No. That's all figurative, right? Let's go to the book of Revelation.
Yes, sir.
Revelation chapter 9 and 5, please.
Yes, sir. The book of Revelation, chapter 9 and verse 5. It reads, and to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months.
5 months. But here's the thing, that 5 months represents 5 years. In actual fact. All right? So, go on, sir. Go on, please.
And their torment was as the torment of a scorpion.
Of what?
Of a scorpion.
Scorpion. The scorpion in the scriptures is speaking about the military helicopters that look like a scorpion. Full body, thin tail, and a rotation at the back of it. And some of them, especially the gunship version, they have like an open section with missiles under it. It looks like the claws of a scorpion. What he saw back then, he did not know the name for, but he used the thing that was most he was most acquainted with to give an explanation of what the future is like. So he called them scorpions. Read on.
When he striketh a man.
Read.
And in those days.
And in what?
And in those days.
And in those days, go on.
Shall men seek death.
Men will seek to die. Go on.
And shall not find it.
And shall what?
And shall not find it.
And shall not find it. Can someone tell me why? Can someone tell me why? You got book chapter verse go with that? All right. Well, give me what you know, please. Go ahead, sir. Grace and peace, sir.
Because they have to face the judgment.
You have to face. Okay. All right, sir. All right. Read it one more time. Read verse 6 one more time for me, please.
Revelation chapter 9 and verse 6. And in those days shall men seek death,
Go on.
and shall not find it,
And shall not find it,
and shall desire to die,
and shall desire to die,
and death shall flee from them.
they shall flee from them. Let's go from there. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 19 and 16, please. Isaiah chapter 19 and 16.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 19, verse 16. In that day shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Most High
All
of
right.
hosts.
Good. See that? Read it again, sir. Read it again.
Come, Isaiah chapter 19, verse 16.
Go on.
In that day
In that day. What day? Go on.
shall Egypt be like unto women, and it shall be afraid
Go on.
and fear because of the shaking of the hand of the Most High of hosts,
Read
which he shaketh over it.
over it. Come on. So he's going to bring tremor. He's going to bring desolation. That's going to bring harm and fear to the people. Come on. All right. From here, if you please, let's. There's more. There's actually more to that. I'm tempted not to go into because of where it's going to take me. But go ahead, sir.
Well, yeah, it was the same thing as I was about to ask a question, but I think it was very soft, so I'll just wait till the end.
All right. From there, if you please, let's go back to Matthew chapter 25. Let's read verse 3.
Book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 3. They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them.
They did what?
They that were foolish took their lamps and took no oil with them.
Took no oil with them. So the source of the lamp, in terms of what gives the flame, is what? I just said it earlier on.
Okay.
What is the source of it? What is the source of it? The oil. The oil is the source of the flame. Con? So if you have no oil, you have no flame. Con? All right. Let's go to Zechariah chapter 4. So let's also make a note of some things that we can make reference to. So we're going to go to Zechariah chapter 4 and 1. The oil represents what? Can someone tell me? All right. So you'll have to guess, please. The law. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet. Okay. But what does it represent? What does the oil represent? Go ahead, sir. Shalom.
Represent wisdom.
You represent what, sir?
Wisdom.
That's good. It represents the type of the Holy Spirit and understanding. Yeah, we did. So it represents the type of the Holy Spirit and understanding. Come on. Are we good with that? Let's read Zechariah.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 4 and verse 1. It reads, And the angel that talked with me came again and waked me as a man that is wakened out of his sleep.
Go on.
And said unto me, What seest thou? And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick, all of gold, with a bowl upon the top of it, and his 7 lamps thereon, and 7 pipes to the 7 lamps.
So, this would have been better to give an illustration, but I don't have a menorah in front of me. But imagine a menorah that has the 7 flames on it and the 7 bowls. From those are like 7 tubes. Above it is a bowl. The bowl is supplying the liquid to go into the lamps for it to burn. Also, there are trees that are attached to the bowl. So we have 2 trees attached to the bowl. We poured into the bowl then being poured into the lamp then giving fire to the window, or playing light to the window. So let's read that again, please, sir.
Zechariah chapter 4 and verse 2. And said unto me, What seest thou? And I said, I have looked, and behold, a candlestick, all of gold, with a bowl upon the top of it, and his 7 lamps thereon, and 7 pipes to the 7 lamps.
7 pipes to the 7 lamps. Now, let's read this carefully. Read on.
Which are upon the top thereof, and 2 olive trees by it, one upon the right side of the bowl, and the other upon the left side thereof.
What does that mean? What does that mean? Well, Isaiah, I see your hands. Go ahead.
Basically, the 2 olive trees represent the northern and southern kingdom
Keep going.
of our people. The lamps. The northern and southern kingdom of our people, and the oil is the spirit that's being, or the covenants that's going to be poured out to us from our Father.
Now, the only reason why, I mean, that's good what you said. That it's clever what you said. I should say clever. It's clever. Because sometimes what we seem to forget is that every time we see 2, we always think northern and southern kingdom. But there's more to it than what meets the eye. Anyone else? Anyone? Yes, please.
Going back to the 5 being wise and 5 being foolish, and looking at this verse, seeing that the oil flow from the right and the left, it seems like there's a correlation there. That some will get it like the 1/3, and some will not like the 2/3.
All right. Let's go to verse 9 and begin reading.
Same Zechariah?
Same Zechariah. Let's read from 8.
Yes, sir.
Intro.
The book of Zechariah, chapter 4 and verse 8. Moreover, the word of the Most High came unto me, saying, The hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this house. His hands shall also finish it. And thou...
Now, underline the word Zerubbabel. Underline it. Because if you don't underline it, when you read it again, you won't know what it is that it's making reference to. So please underline it. Read.
The hands of Zerubbabel have laid the foundation of this house, and his hand shall also finish it. And thou shalt know that the Most High of hosts have sent me unto you.
Go on.
For who have despised the day of small things? For they shall rejoice and shall see the plummet in the land of Zerubbabel.
Go on.
With those 7. They are the eyes of the Most High.
Those 7. All right. Continue.
Which run to and fro through the whole earth.
Read.
Then answered I and said unto him, What are these 2 olive trees?
What are these 2 olive trees?
Upon the right side of the candlestick and upon the left side thereof.
Read.
And I answered again and said unto him, What be these 2 olive branches, which through the 2 golden pipes empty the golden oil out of themselves?
Out of what?
Out of themselves.
Out of themselves. Let's see. Shall I? Read on.
Come. And he answered me and said, Knowest thou not what these be? And I said, No, my Lord. Then said he, These are the 2 anointed ones.
2 anointed ones. Right?
Come.
Watch it now. Read.
That stand by the Lord of all, Salaki, of the whole earth.
So that's speaking of Joshua and Zerubbabel. Joshua and Zerubbabel. Now remember, Joshua is a type of Yahushua. Type. Zerubbabel, again, type of Yahushua. And I don't want to get into that, otherwise it will take us way off into something else. But that's a whole teaching by itself. Come on. You with me so far? Proverbs chapter 4 and 7. Let's go there.
Come. The book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 7.
Let's read.
Wisdom is the principal thing.
So when it says wisdom is the principal thing, what does that mean? Wisdom is the principal thing. What does it mean? So,
Maybe I've read about Solomon, when he Lord asked him, what do you need? He said, wisdom. Because if you have wisdom, you can do everything.
calm, but it said wisdom, let me repeat. Wisdom is the principal thing. So what does that mean? Yes.
Is he talking about the word of God, about his word, his wisdom, and its principal outcome? His laws, statutes,
Gone. Good, but wisdom is the principal thing. All right.
Grace and peace.
Grace and peace.
First thing.
First, the word principle is where we get the word first from. First. Remember, princes are first. A prince, when someone's a prince, he's the first. But what if you have, you heard me say it many times, so I'm sounding stuck record here. If you have 3 sons, all 3 of them are princes, but they're the first of them. They are the first of them. Every man in here is the first of him. Every woman is the princess, the first of her. Come? That's why it's the principal thing. It's the first. Wisdom is the principal thing. Then it says, go on.
Wisdom is the principal thing. Therefore, get wisdom.
Get wisdom. So get the thing that is principal. Get the thing that is first. Come?
Come.
Then what does it say?
And with all thy getting,
And with all your getting,
get understanding.
get understanding. Because you can get wisdom, but you must have understanding.
The book of Psalms, chapter 111, verse 10. The book of Psalms, chapter 111, verse 10. The fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom. A good understanding of all they that do his commandments.
That one?
That do his commandments. His praise endureth forever.
Read it one more time.
Psalms chapter 111, verse 10. The fear of the Most High is the beginning of wisdom.
Read.
A good understanding.
But what?
A good understanding.
You must have a good understanding. Get wisdom. Therefore, get wisdom. But in all thy getting, get understanding. Got a lot of wise people out there who don't have no understanding. Must have understanding. Come. Finish. Read what you're saying.
Yes, sir. A good understanding have all they that do his commandments. His praise endureth forever.
So understanding is critical for you to succeed. It is critical. You must have understanding. 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and 15.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 6, 16, 15. Verse 15, it reads, Know ye not that your bodies are the members of Mashiach? Shall I then take members of Mashiach and make them the members of a harlot.
Make them what?
Make them members of a harlot.
Go on.
God forbid.
God forbid. Read.
No, Salaki, what? Know ye not that he which is joined to a harlot is one body? For two, saith he, shall be one flesh.
Shall be one flesh.
Come.
Can't make it any clearer than that, can't? Mm-hmm. All right, let's make it clearer still. Let's go to Sirach, chapter 19. Let's begin reading, if you please, verse 24.
Come. The book of Sirach, chapter 19, verse 24. He that hath small understanding
Listen carefully.
and feareth God,
And do what?
and feareth God,
And fears the Most High.
is better than one that hath much wisdom
Much wisdom.
and transgresseth the law of the Most High.
See that?
Uh,
That's so crystal clear you don't even,
yeah.
you know, a blind man can see that one. Read it one more time, sir.
Sirach, chapter 19, verse 24. It reads, He that hath small understanding and feareth God is better than one that hath much wisdom and transgresseth the law of the Most High.
All right. Tobit chapter 12.
Come,
That's a gem. You want to make sure you highlight that one, Con.
come,
So let's go to Tobit chapter 12 and 8.
come.
Tobit chapter 12 and 8. Let's go there, please.
Tobit, chapter 12 and verse 8. It reads,
Tobit chapter 1
12 and verse 8.
and verse 8. All right, so make sure that you're on page 41. You're reading from the Red Book of Apocrypha. Go ahead.
Prayer is good with fasting and alms and righteousness. A little with righteousness
A little with righteousness.
is better than much with unrighteousness.
Go on.
It is better to give alms than to lay upon gold.
Than to lay up and hoarding up gold.
Come.
Con? Is that clear to you, everyone?
Yes.
Con? Good. All right, so long as we're on the same page. Now, let's understand this then. When, what do you think happens to a brother? Let's go back to Matthew chapter 25. What do you think is happening to a brother or sister when they see you knew how they were before and they start to lose that zest, that drive, that push? In fact, they were infectious. You didn't like being around that sister because she was infectious. She was energetic. Or that brother because he just had a zeal that motivated you. Yes, ma'am? Yes, indeed. Look at me. Yes, been like that. All right, so what would you say is wrong with them? What's gone wrong with them? Huh? When someone has not got what they had originally, what's happened? Me more white lights on that one. What happened? Yes, sir.
He stepped out of the
According to what we're reading, so keep it in context of what we're reading.
I'm relating it to he stepped out of the way of the Most High. In other words, sort of like the congregation.
All right. Anyone else? Anyone else? Can anyone tell me? Yes, at the very back. Say again? Their lamp has gone out. Good. Now, why? The lamp has gone out. Why did the lamp go out? Yes, that's good too, but based upon what you just said, which is absolutely right, what caused it to go out? The oil. When you begin to leak oil, and sometimes some brothers and some sisters begin to leak oil. Your container has to be well fitted together. Otherwise you will leak oil. That's why you get up and down syndrome. The container must be well fitted to hold oil. Come on? Because once you start losing oil, you start losing your way.
That's right.
Once you start losing oil, you start having a strange focus as to how you ought to walk. The way we used to hear you speak is not how we're hearing you speak now. But you've allowed yourself to become contaminated. Come on? Proverbs chapter 21 and 20, please. That's it, then.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 20.
Read.
It reads, there is treasure to be desired.
There is what?
There is treasure to be desired.
There is treasure to be desired. Go on.
And oil in the dwelling of the wise.
And what?
And oil in the dwelling of the wise.
There is oil in the dwelling of whom?
Of the wise.
Of the wise. Go on.
But a foolish man.
But a what man?
But a foolish man.
Go on.
Spendeth it up.
He does what?
Spendeth it up.
Go on.
He that followeth after righteousness and mercy findeth life, righteousness, and honor.
You must follow after righteousness. That means, that's why when people say, oh, I'm a lone ranger, you are a fool. There is no motivation when it's just you.
That's right.
There's something wonderful about being in the company of others, because when you feel a certain way, that one will help lift you up. And when it's the opposite way around, you then lift up the other person. Because iron sharpens iron. We are supportive of one another. Our job is to help one another because we are our brothers, sisters, keepers. We are. We can't manage this by ourselves. Finish that for me.
Yes, sir. So like that was verse 22.
22. Go on.
It says, a wise man scaleth the city of the mighty.
He does what?
A wise man scaleth the city of the mighty.
Go on.
And casteth down the strength of the confidence thereof.
So remember, brothers and sisters, in order for you to stay with oil and to stay strong, you have to pray and fast. Listen, whenever I can always tell when someone is getting weak. Always. Because the signs are there. How you were in the beginning is not how you are now. The only way you can get yourself back is to what? Pray and fast. Fast and pray. You have to. Why is fasting important? Because whilst this body is being fed, your spiritual man gets weak. When you fast and this body gets weak, your spiritual man gets strong. Why do you think when people are starving, they start to see visions? Because the spirit side of them is becoming more prominent whilst their natural body is dying. I see things that I never saw before. Because you're getting close to that realm and you're coming away from the natural world. Fasting is important, brothers and sisters. It is 100% important, So let's go from there, please. Where were we, sir?
We was in Proverbs.
All right, let's go to John chapter 3, 19. And you'll see why. You'll see why. And because there's something in men that causes them
The book of John, chapter 3 and verse 19. It reads, "And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world."
Light is what?
Light is come into the world.
Now, light coming into a means what? Light coming into the world means what? Give me a hand. All right, Damien.
Is it meaning that the law comes into the world?
No, because the law was in the world from the beginning.
Hmm.
Because remember, the law was in existence from the Genesis. People think it only came in when Moses. No, Moses introduced the written law. But back in the Genesis, the law was transferred one to another verbally. Okay? So, what is the light that's coming to the world here? Do I see a show of hands? All right. Yes, Sister Casey, let's hear you. Understanding. That's good, but it's not what I want. But it's good, but it's not what I want. All right. This is what. All right. Go ahead, sir.
In this case, the light represents Yahushua.
The light represents Yahushua. Because remember, he starts off by saying, "I am the light of the world." And then after he finished speaking about himself, then he says, "Ye are the light of the world." So why? Because he's our brother. And we are to be like him. When he was here, all who and how he was, we are to be. And the only way you're going to know how to be like him is to read his position in this book. And I'm not talking about New Testament. It's hogwash when people say, "Well, he came in the New Testament, and therefore he's in the New." No. There's no such thing as New Testament. There's no such thing as Old Testament. It's just the scriptures. White people called it that.
That's right.
White people? Yes, white people did that. White people. Edomite. We had a whole book. If there was such a thing as an old and new, then he wouldn't have said, "I came in the volume of the book, it was written of me." He didn't say old or new, he just said the whole book. Therefore, when we want to see Yahushua, we can see him from the beginning. We can see him in the Torah. We can see him all through the Tanakh. So he's in the volume of the book. So, read it again, sir.
The book of John, chapter 3, verse 19. "And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world."
That light is come into the world. He's the light. He's the light of his people. Go on.
"And men loved darkness rather than light."
There is the key. That's why we mess up. Because men love darkness rather than light. Because darkness hides what men do. But remember, he said, "I'm 10,000 times brighter than the sun." So what are you going to hide from me? Where is the darkness that can dose out the sun? Nothing can. Men become lovers of darkness. That's why, look, that's why some of us, we love to watch those dark, macabre movies. It makes us go, "Ooh." We like to see all that. Now, why did men like to watch movies that has sexual exploits in them? Because it's darkness. And men would hide on the side and watch certain things called pornography. And women, by the way. But we talk about men all the time, but women like pornography too. Notice God, no indeed there. Because it seems like it's only for one group. It's for all. Read it again, please, sir.
John chapter 3, verse 19. "And this is the condemnation, that light is come into the world, and men love darkness rather than light."
Read
because their deeds were evil.
Read.
For everyone that doeth evil hateth the light.
Hate what?
Hateth the light.
That means they hate the law.
Come.
Read.
Neither cometh to the light, lest his deeds should be reproved.
Because he doesn't want you to tell him what he's doing. I like running after girls or women. Don't tell me not to do that.
Come, don't judge me.
Yeah, don't what? Yeah. And other. I like to speak. I like to smoke a blunt.
Yeah.
Well, I'm herbs. So don't come, preaching to me with that.
Come.
Go on.
Come.
All right. So, okay. All right. Go ahead, sir. Read me some more.
Verse 21. But he that doeth truth,
He that what?
he that doeth truth, cometh to the light, that his deeds may be made manifest, that they were wrought in God.
That they were what?
Wrought in God.
Okay. Bear with me just one quick. Ma'am, did you send me something?
No, sir.
No? Okay.
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So, yes, let's drop that, if you please. Let's go, if you please, back to Matthew. Matthew chapter 25 and 4.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 4. It reads, But the wise took oil in their vessels.
But they did what?
But the wise took oil in their vessels
Go on.
with their lamps.
With their lamps. So the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps.
Come.
Just bear with me just one quick moment. I just need to quickly check something before I have you go there. Let's go ahead and read it. Daniel chapter 12 and 10, please.
Come. The book of Daniel, chapter 12 and verse 10. Many shall be purified
Go on.
and made white and tried, but the wicked shall do wickedly.
Read.
And none of the wicked shall understand, but the wise shall understand.
That's why, see, remember, those who get this, they are likened to the wise.
Come.
Those who don't get this, they're likened to the what? Yeah, the foolish, exactly. And if you're foolish, you're wicked, basically. So that's why, and I know that seems hard. It seems like a hard statement, doesn't it? Be real with me for a moment. It seems like, because when you're speaking to your wife, your husband, or your children or family members, it seems hard that they don't get it, and that because they don't get it, they're now likened to the foolish. It seems hard. But let's take this a step further, if we please. Can we go to Deuteronomy chapter 32 and 26, please?
Yes, sir. The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 26.
Go ahead.
It reads, I said, I would scatter them into corners.
Read that again, sir. Read that again.
I said, I would scatter them into
He
corners.
said, I would scatter you into corners. Go on.
I would make the remembrance of them.
I will do it. Now that's important. That word, make the remembrance, is key.
Come.
It is absolute key. You'll see why. Underline it. Get ready to reference it. Go on.
I would make the remembrance of them to cease
To cease. Go on.
from among men.
From among men. Now, remember, there are two scriptures that brings us in mind with that. No, we're definitely going to Jeremiah, but there's something else I want to look up before I get there. Just bear with me, just for a quick minute. Sorry for the pause. And thou shalt not. Yes, go to Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 14, please.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, verse 14, it reads, "And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words which I command thee this day, to the right hand, or to the left, or to go after other gods to serve them."
So you're not supposed to do that, right? You're not supposed to. Because if you do, jump to 64.
Verse 64, it reads, "And the Most High shall scatter thee among all people from the one end of the earth, even unto the other. And there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone."
Even wood and stone. Go to book 4 and 6 for me, please, real quick. Real quick, because I someplace else I want to go to. This.
The book of Baruch, chapter 4 and verse 6. "We were sold to the nations."
We were what?
"We were sold to the nations,
Go on.
not for your destruction,
Go on.
but because ye moved God to wrath."
So remember, he didn't do it to completely destroy us, because we disobedient, moved him to bring us into destruction. Go on.
"But because ye moved God to wrath, ye were delivered unto the enemy."
We were delivered unto the enemy. See that? Now let's go to Jeremiah chapter 17 and 4.
Yes, sir. The book of Jeremiah, chapter 17 and verse 4. "And thou, even thyself."
Stop. Read it again.
"And thou, even thyself."
Now, are you getting what this is saying to us? Read it one more time, please.
Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. "And thou, even thyself."
Stop. Now, it's making a statement. And the statement that it's making is very simple. It's saying this. Read it again.
"And thou, even thyself."
Even thyself. Usually, we read quickly past this and go on to the next clause that says, "shall discontinue." But here's the point that we missed. He's saying this. This is what the Most High is saying to Jeremiah. He's telling him to his face as he's writing this down. He said, "Jeremiah, you know what?" He said, and now, even you, a man of God who have been so selective and righteous in your walk with me, you are going to be discontinued from your heritage, and you won't even know who I am, and you won't know who you are. That's the part we miss, because we miss that it's telling us that he put this on Jeremiah himself. Read it again, slowly.
"And thou, even thyself."
Even thyself.
"Shalt discontinue."
Shall discontinue. You, Jeremiah, you are going to discontinue from what?
"From thine heritage."
From your heritage. Hold it there. Go to Sirach chapter 17 and 11.
Sirach chapter 17 verse 11. "Beside this, he gave them knowledge and the law of life for an heritage."
For what?
For an heritage.
The law is a heritage for us. Khan? Still staying there in Sirach. Go to 24 and 23.
Sirach chapter 24 verse 23. "All things are the book of the covenant of the Most High God, even the law which Moses commanded for an heritage unto the congregations of Jacob.
Unto the congregation of Jacob. You have a heritage. But he says here in Jeremiah, it said, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from your heritage. You, Jeremiah, talking to you first, you are going to discontinue. You don't know. You won't even know who you are, son. Because you're going to come back to the earth. I know what it's going back to. I did put the rest of it.
No, I'm saying that was the question I was going to ask.
Here it is. Listen, you could literally be Isaiah. You have the name Isaiah. And you may be, well, I like Isaiah. I'm going to call myself Isaiah. And not have my government name. But here's the thing. You might be Isaiah. And none of us know it. And you don't even know what you're calling yourself. That's why the scripture teaches us that we must treat one another with great respect. We don't know who's Sarah among you. We don't know who's Deborah among you. I mean, heavens, you could even be Mary. None of us know. That's why the scriptures teach us to be respectful of each other.
That's right.
And you hear me say this at least once every 3 months. I push it hard. Why? Because that's what you've got to be. Otherwise, we're just going to be just like the rest of our brethren out there, and we treat one another with disrespect all the time.
That's right.
Not getting who we are. Let's go back. Jeremiah.
Jeremiah chapter 17 and verse 4. Even thou, even thyself shalt discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not.
Notice he said, well, I'll come up, but I won't serve. Garbage. He said he will cause you
That's right.
to serve your enemies. And he said that you're serving enemies in the land which thou knowest not. And he said, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger.
That's right.
Which shall burn forever. Now, we as Israel, we thank the Most High God that we've learned to understand what the word forever really means. Because if it was under our Christianity understand, we'll think that's forever and forever. Amen. But really, the word forever is an allotted period of time, known only to the Almighty Himself. And the word forever and forever is an even greater allotted period of time, known to no one but the Almighty Himself.
That's right.
Con? So he said that we have kindled that in Him. Go to Deuteronomy 32 and 26 real quick.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 32, verse 26, it reads, and I said, I would scatter them into corners. I would make the remembrance of them.
See, the remembrance of them, go on.
To cease from among men.
It ceased from among men. That we who are waking up, that's why you know, brother, if you know what you know and you've woken up the way that you've woken up and you're still playing around with this thing, as I said, whatever happens to you, you deserve it. Because you can't come so close to heaven's gate. I'm not talking about heaven, I'm talking about heaven up there, I'm talking about kingdom. You can't come so close to dipping your big toe into the kingdom and you pull back to go and do the foolishness of this world. Are you mad? Have you lost your mind? Finish it, sir.
It says, I would make them, I would make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
from among men. Now, let's prove that even further. Psalms 83 and verse 4. We just read that, won't go any further.
The book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 4. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
They have cut us off from being a nation. You know, the so-called black man of America, the so-called black men and women of the Caribbean, South America, even our Mexican brothers of Puerto Rico and Chile and El Salvador, as well as Mexico, all of our brothers don't know where they're from. They don't know. You ask them and say, oh, I've been here all the time. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. My Mexican brothers, you haven't been there all the time. You were planted there.
That's right.
Do you know that you can ask any so-called black person, or Mexican for that matter, but primarily black people, you can ask them and say to them, can you go back at least 10 generations? None of us can. But you go to Esau and you say to Esau, can you, I'll go back 20, 30 generations. I can tell you all about what happened to my great. You see, we don't know these things. They do.
That's right.
All right. Go ahead and finish up first. Read it again.
Come, Psalms chapter 83, verse 4. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Read.
That the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
In remembrance. In remembrance. Isaiah chapter 51 and 20, please.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 51 and verse 20. It reads, thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets.
Go on.
As a wild bull in a net.
Yeah, the wild what?
As a wild bull in a net.
Now, let's break this down properly, because again, it's a verse that we've read over in the past. We've never really dealt with it. Now, watch us deal with it. Now, go ahead.
They are full.
Start from the top.
Come, Isaiah chapter 51, verse 20. Thy sons have fainted.
Stop. Come on. Fainted there. Meaning, they have what? When you faint, what happens to you? Brothers and sisters, when you faint, what happens to you? Who said that? You lose consciousness. Now, if you lose consciousness, you're not aware of what's going on around you, right? Israel has lost consciousness.
That's right.
They fainted. Read.
Thy sons have fainted. They lie at the head of all the streets.
They are hanging out at all the streets, and people know where their corner is. Is that not us?
Come.
Come on. I mean, let's be real here.
That's right.
Go on.
As a wild bull
As a wild bull, how?
in a net.
In a net. We're busting up everything. We bust up anything that's around us. It's like that destructive nature has taken hold of us. But it's not really who we are. We are products of the curse.
Come.
Go on.
They are full of the fury of the Most High.
They're full. In other words, all the things that the Most High put in us to be destructive and to carry on like wild men and wild women. That's why when we were out at that camp last week, we saw some stuff that truthfully was X-rated. And hearing records that's talking about what the man does to the woman and what the woman does to the man, and children around hearing all that. We are full of the fury of the Most High God.
Come.
That is like normal. And then it says what?
The rebuke of thy God.
And that is the rebuke of the Most High God on us.
Come.
That's what it is. Con? Any questions so far? Any questions so far? Any questions so far? All right. Let's go to 2nd Ezra, chapter 7 and verse 28. 2nd Ezra, chapter 7 and verse 28.
The book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 7 and verse 28. For my son, Yahushua, shall be revealed with those that be with him.
All right, let's go back. Let's reread this, please. Let's use the word that's there.
Come. 2nd Ezra, chapter 7, verse 28. For my son Jesus shall be revealed with those that be with him, and they that remain shall rejoice within 400 years.
Within 400 years. All right. Explain that, please. Brothers, sisters. Please don't speak at once. Come on. Somebody just give it a go. Grace and peace.
It seems to me like it's saying after a period of time, which is 400 years, those people that know the truth, or it will come to those, like the prophets will give the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And I say that because of the 400 years. It seems like, now they're starting to arise where 50 years ago you didn't see the prophets out in the streets, but now we do.
Very good. Very good. Very, very good. Now, let's go back and read it again, put it in context.
2nd Ezra, chapter 7 and verse 28.
Let's begin at 27. Please.
Verse 27. And whosoever is delivered from the foresaid evil shall see my wonders.
So, that's the key. Whosoever is delivered from the foresaid evils shall see my wonders.
Come.
You who are now, however the Lord brought you into this, the Most High brought you into this truth, you are beginning to see the wonders. As I just said, 50 years ago, you didn't see black men bold standing in the street speaking the way that they're speaking.
Come.
Now you're seeing them do it. And they don't care who you are who wants to come up in front of them. They don't fear apologetics. They don't fear anyone with so-called philosophy. They come, we turn them into ashes and blow them away.
Come.
Because they don't know what we know.
That's right.
So it says here, go on, verse 28.
Verse 28. For my son Jesus.
For my son Jesus, the reason why I wanted him to read it as verbatim is because I want to point out what's in the scriptures.
Come.
So he says, for my son Jesus
shall be revealed.
Shall now be around, so to speak, go on.
With those.
With men, go on.
That be with him.
That shall operate with him, go on.
And they that remain shall rejoice.
And those who remain with him shall rejoice. Because remember, he had 70. Yahushua had 70. Many of them left him. That's why, remember, when you start something like this, you start with many, then many fall off. But you got to keep on going. Then people come back, then many fall off. Why? Because not everyone who comes initially, because many are called, but only few are chosen. Because some of you have been with me a while. You were with me over the other side, where the woman was packed out over the other side. You've been with me. We've seen that side. But what happens is, many are called, you are chosen. But the thing with these, you've got to keep on building, because this is a net to catch those who are of the election. So then when we look at this now, it says, remain shall rejoice within the 400 years. Now the 400 years that he's speaking about is 400 years after Ezra. This Esdras that we're reading here is Ezra in the King James. So Esdras and Ezra are the same people, right? So here it's saying 400 years after Ezra or Esdras will come, Yahushua, read 29.
Verse 29. After these years shall my son Christ die.
He will die, go on.
And all men that have life.
And all men will have life. Why? Because he came to die and bring repentance to only Israel.
That's right.
Not to everyone.
That's right.
Why is it Israel? Because Israel will give them the laws and Israel broke the laws.
That's right.
Come? Make sense so far? So, then what we have to look at, read on, sir.
Verse 30. And the world shall be turned into the old silence.
The world shall be turned into what?
The old silence.
Go on.
7 days.
7 days.
Like as the former judgments.
Read.
So that no man shall remain.
So no man shall remain. Are you getting this? Huh? All right. You still with everybody still with me? All right. So now let's read on.
Verse 31. And after 7 days, the word that yet awaketh not shall be raised up.
So the world, what world? Israel.
Come.
Israel was in a state of slumber. Why is that so important? Hold right where you are. Hold that. Jump back with me to Matthew chapter 25. Read where we left off.
Yes, sir. The book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 5. It reads, Salaki, verse 4. But the wise took oil in their vessels with their lamps.
Watch this, go on.
While the bridegroom tarried, they
Whilst
all...
the bridegroom went away, whilst Yahushua went away back to his father to report what was done and to explain who are his chosen. Go on.
While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered.
They all what?
They all slumbered.
Go on.
And slept.
And slept. So go back now to the Apocrypha. Read what we left off.
Come. It says 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 30. And the whole world shall be turned into the old silence 7 days, like as into the former judgment.
Go on.
So that no man shall remain.
Go on.
And after 7 days, the world that yet awaketh not.
See, the world, Israel, has not yet awakened. That's what it was saying. Go on.
Shall be raised up.
Shall be raised up. Go on.
And that shall die that is corrupt.
Go on. And even those that wake up now, some of them are going to die if you're corrupt. Go on.
And the earth shall restore those that are asleep.
Go on.
In her.
Go on.
And so shall the dust, those shall, Salaki, and so
Read
shall...
it again from the top.
Yes, sir. Verse 32. And the earth shall restore those that are asleep in her.
Read.
And so shall the dust, those that dwell in silence and the secret places, shall deliver those souls that were committed unto them.
Unto them. See? So there are some of us, we are committed unto the Most High. He has put his signature on us. In other words, he's sealing us. Are you getting this? So what's happening during that 400 years of silence? And all right, Yahushua comes, he dies on the cross. After he goes, so what happened? Then we have something called 70 AD. So 30 years after Yahushua dies, 70 AD, between 30 and 40 years, 70 AD takes place. Not long after that, several years later after that, then comes the transatlantic slave trade. Are you seeing this, ladies and gentlemen? And now it affects the whole world of Israel. Because remember, much of our people left and came over to America, which was the 10 tribes. They were here in America by themselves. They were the first people here, not the Native Americans. No, sirree, Bob, not them. Only the 10 tribes were here. the Native Americans are the mixture of other nations with them and with our people that cause a Native American group of people to come about. I'm only saying it like that because I don't want to get into that. That's another teaching. We'll do that down the months to come. So you'll see that the northern kingdom is really mixed up. That's why they are so lost. And they don't know who they are.
That's right.
They think they're white men. We asked one time, so what ethnicity are you? I'm white. You brown like sugar. And you turn it around and say that you white. See? So here is a situation. That's how messed up our people are. But the Most High has done it that way on purpose.
Right.
So then the transatlantic slave trade brought the southern kingdom over to the northern kingdom in America. And for those of you that don't get it, that's why for the first time in all of creational history, we find that both northern and southern kingdom are in one place.
Right.
No other country can claim that but the America, Central America, and South America. That's why when Yahushua returns, you've heard me say this several times before, he's coming to America first, nowhere else first. Oh, but the Bible says he's gonna go to Jerusalem and he's gonna put one foot on Mount Olive and another foot. Shut up, you don't know the scriptures. He's coming to America first. He's coming to get his people out of Babylon first. That's what he's coming to do. Do we get this? Do we understand it so far? All right, now let's go back to Matthew chapter 24, 25, and let's read it, if you please.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 5. While the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept.
They all slumbered and slept. Psalms chapter 13 and verse 3, please.
Yes, sir.
Psalms chapter 13 and 3. Let's go there, please.
Psalms chapter 13, verse 3. Consider and hear me, O Yahweh, my God. Lighten mine eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death.
See, that explains why it speaks about the world was turned into the silence of old for 7 days. Go on.
Lest mine enemies say, I have prevailed against him, and those that troubled me rejoice when I am moved.
What we are reading there is spiritual death and natural death. Read it again from the top so that those of you who are taking notes, you will take notes of this.
Psalms chapter 13, verse 4.
Verse 3.
Verse 3. Consider and hear me, O Lord, my God. Lighten mine eyes, lest I sleep the sleep of death. Lest mine enemies say, I have prevailed against him, and those that troubled me rejoice when I am moved.
So remember, it's speaking about the death, meaning you died to who you were. That's why our people struggle to believe that you are Israel. I'm not Israel. They're over in Israel right now. Our people. Go with me, if you please, to Romans chapter 3 and 13 and 11. Romans chapter 13 and 11.
The book of Romans, chapter 13, verse 11.
Read.
And that, knowing the time.
Knowing what?
Knowing the time.
Go on.
That now it is high time to awake out of sleep.
See, it's now telling you. It's high time for you to awake out of sleep. Get up out of your slumber. Go on.
For now is our salvation nearer than we believe.
See, it's closer than you think. Whilst you're messing around, some of you can miss it because you're not taking this seriously. Stop at 14. Go on.
The night is far spent.
The night is far spent. Go on.
The day is at hand.
Go on.
Let us therefore cast off the works of darkness.
See? So it's tied in with what you're reading about the 10 virgins here. Are you seeing that? Because they were slumbering and sleeping. Go on.
And let us put on the armor of light.
Put on what?
The armor of light.
The armor of light. This arms us.
Come.
This makes us impregnable. Finish at 14. Go on.
Let us walk honestly as in the day, not in rioting and drunkenness, not in chambering and wantonness, not in strife and envying, but put ye on the Lord Jesus Christ, and make not provision for the flesh to fulfill the lust thereof.
And in order for you to do that, so that you can be changed, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 51.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 15, verse 51, it reads, Behold, I show you a mystery.
I show you something hard to imagine. Go on.
We shall not all sleep,
You are not all going to be dead. Go on.
but we shall all be changed.
But you're going to be changed. Go on.
In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trump. For the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall be raised incorruptible, and we shall be changed.
And we shall be changed. Let's go to John 9 and 4, please.
Okay. The book of John, chapter 9 and verse 4, it reads,
And this is why we do what we do.
I must work the works of him that sent me.
Now, tell me, what is the works? Can someone tell me? What is the works?
Grace and peace is waking up our people and causing them to come back home.
That's the works. Waking up our people. Part of the works mean you're going to get dirty sometime. What's the dirt? People are going to talk bad about you. They're going to scorn you. They'll laugh you to shreds. If you're worried about that, then you're in trouble, basically. But you have to learn to take all of that. People are going to laugh you to scorn. And this is why on the Sabbath, many of us, we haven't learned how to enjoy the Sabbath. We haven't. You know, when we used to go to when we used to be the Sunday go to church worshipers, we had a very slack regimen. And what was a slack regimen? Turn up at church whatever time we wanted. Sometimes we turned up just before the word. Then we slipped in there and we got in to get the word. And right after that, the church would have a bake sale, and so you'd go into the basement, go into another room to get the bake sale. And for those that didn't do the bake sale, you went down to Red Lobster or Denny's. You see how the whole organization of that, even though we may or may not have known that back then, it was contrary to the will of the Most High God.
Come on.
Because it was breaking every law in the book. You say that Sunday was the holy day, but you're spending money like crazy and carrying on like crazy. And then some I swear to you, I'm not lying. I remember how brothers would come to church with those little TVs with an aerial, have their head hung down, and be watching the game. I remember seeing that, and I was appalled back then, because I couldn't believe you had the guts to do that, and then hear them after the service is finished. Hey man, I'll chat to you later. I'm gonna get home to finish watch the game.
Come.
This is where our mind was. Now we brought you into truth. We're like the disciples who Yahweh says to us, you couldn't watch with me for 1 hour? You couldn't spend a little time with me? Because we want it to be over and done, so I'm going to get on with my life. Well, you know, this is the beauty about the Most High God. He reads our minds. He knows where your mind is at. He knows where your true spirit and your true loyalty lies.
Come.
And he'll fix you up. Don't worry. He'll give you your reward. If you think you can play with him, try playing with him some more. Because he doesn't mess around.
Come.
That's why I used to say back in Newcastle, to say, take a look around you. Take a good look around you. Now, the people that you see now may not be the people you see later. Because some of them are not going to make it.
Come.
Right? Read it again, sir.
John chapter 9 and verse 4. I must work the works of him that sent me, while it is day.
Go on.
The night cometh, when no man can work.
When no man can work. Now, can someone explain to me, what does it mean, I work the work of him that sent me while it is day, for the night comes? What does that mean? We dealt with that in one of the Bible classes, so who can tell me? Go ahead, sir.
I don't remember the book, chapter, verse,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to come a time where you will not hear what teaches anymore.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Similar to the Hitler day when they were burning books.
Mm-hmm. The day is coming. Everyone right now, most people know that we're the same group of men that are right there in Sugar Land.
Yeah.
Come.
They know that. We've been there for years now. And some even, like last night, said, oh, I've never seen you here before. Which is stupid.
Come.
But anyway, we're the same men there. And what happens is there's a time coming when people will know where we are and they will rush to get there, to get teaching, to get answers. And they won't be able to get any because the time will come when Most High will say, that's it. No more. No more teaching. That is over now. Whatever they were getting, if they didn't get it then, they're not going to get it at all.
Come.
The scripture says there's going to be a famine in the land for word, and they can't get it. Work the works of him that sent me once of this day. The day was whilst he was with us. The day was whilst he was with us, because he's the light of the world. When he went, night came.
That's right.
And that's why when we read the scriptures, it said that some slumbered and slept. It's because, read it again, sir, verse 5. Matthew 24.
25 and 5.
Yeah.
It says, the book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 5. It reads, while the bridegroom tarried, they all slumbered and slept.
They did what?
They all slumbered and slept.
Go on.
And at midnight there was a cry made.
Now, watch this. There was a cry. What was the cry? What was the cry? Yes, ma'am. Say again. This was an actual cry. If it said sound, then we could say possibly it could be the trumpet. But now this was a cry.
Oh, grace and peace.
Grace and
There was
peace.
wailing because they could see him coming. See, when the verse would be there.
Hold it. I'm going to say keep it short. Read it again. Listen to it. Answer after that.
Matthew chapter 25 verse 6. And at midnight there was a cry made.
Stop. So give me the answer now.
At midnight the cry was made, and in Matthew 24, verse 30. Matthew 24, verse 30. That's what they saw.
Matthew 24, verse 30. 30 you said, right?
Verse 30, yes.
All right. Let's read.
Matthew chapter 24 verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man.
All right, stop. Now, go to Malachi. Let's cut to the chase. Chapter 4 and 4.
The book of Malachi, chapter 4 and verse 4.
Go on.
Remember ye the law of Moses my servant,
Go on.
which I commanded unto him.
Which what?
Which I commanded unto him
Go on.
in Horeb for all Israel.
Go on.
With,
For who?
For all Israel.
Go on.
With the statutes and judgments.
Go on.
Behold, I will send you Elijah,
Go on.
the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Most High.
Go on.
And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children.
He will do what?
And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with a curse.
That's the cry. The cry is the cry that was made for or by or for Elijah, who would come, who then would be in his reincarnated state as John the Baptist. The scripture that I thought you were going to come with was the one who cried in the wilderness. All right? I'll find that scripture and I'll let you open that one, okay? So, that's the cry. The cry is Elijah. Now, John the Baptist crying in the wilderness. And he's crying because we have forgotten the law. It said, remember ye the law of Moses, my servant, which I commanded unto you in Horeb. For all Israel with the statutes and judgments. Go ahead, sir.
Matthew chapter 3, verse
3, verse 3. Go ahead and read it.
The book of Matthew, chapter 3 and verse 3. It reads, chapter 3 and verse 3. For this is he that was spoken of by the prophet Isaiah, saying, the voice of the one crying in the wilderness, prepare ye the way of the Lord. Make his path straight.
Make his path straight. Now, go back to Malachi chapter 4 and 6. Listen carefully, ladies and gentlemen, because, again, these are things that we read and we don't understand, and we're trying to make sure we understand it. Con? All right. So, let's read it now.
The book of Malachi, chapter 4 and verse 6.
In fact, read 5 on down.
Verse 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah, the prophet.
That's John the Baptist. Go on.
Before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord.
Go on.
And he shall turn the heart.
All right, stop there. Matthew chapter 17 and 11. Real quick, then go back there just so that we make sure people have the proper information to correlate with it. Let's go.
The book of Matthew, chapter 17 and verse 11. It reads, and Jesus answered and said unto them, Elijah truly shall first come and restore all things.
See that? Elijah. Who is Elijah? It's speaking about John the Baptist. That's why he said, this is John the Baptist, if you can receive it. Go ahead, sir.
The book of Matthew, chapter 11, verse 11. Verily I say unto you, among them that are born of women, there have not risen a greater than John the Baptist. Notwithstanding, he that is least in the kingdom of heaven is greater than he. And from the days of John the Baptist until now, the kingdom of heaven suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force.
Who is the kingdom of heaven?
Israel.
Go on.
Come, for all the prophets, Salaki, for all the prophets and the law prophesied until John.
Go on.
And if ye will receive it.
If you will receive it, because not all of us have the faith to receive this. Go on.
This is Elijah.
This is Elijah.
Which was for to come.
Which is for to come. See that? Now let's go back. Let's finish up where we were.
Malachi chapter 4 and verse 5. Behold, I will send you Elijah the prophet before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Most High. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers.
What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? My wife said I sound too harsh, so I quickly rethink myself. So what does it mean? I don't mean to be harsh, but I certainly don't mean. So what does it mean? Yes, go ahead.
But this respect that children have today towards their parents will turn again to respect they should have.
Not close. I mean, you're on the right track, but you just worded it a little bit wrongly. All right, anyone else? Yes, go ahead.
Is it referring to us following the law?
Yeah, but you're going to give it to me in the right sequence. Right? All right. Casey.
I was gonna also say that we'll come back to the law. If we don't, the person's already.
All right. All right. Isaiah, back to you because you had the hand.
Yeah, we would start to pay attention to the elders that are trying to bring us back into the Word, and then the children would sort of, and because there would be the fathers training the children, and the children being Israel, we would start to get it. Those of us that
All
are
right.
meant to get it.
Do me a favor. Say it again. Limit the syllables.
Okay. The children of Israel will start to hear the word. Those of us that selected the 1/3, and the 2/3 will just keep on their way. Well, just the 1/3 will start to get it.
Stop. I'm trying to teach you now. Just give me the syllables. Don't bring out the history into it. That's why you make it a little bit complicated. Just give it to me straight. I don't know Bible. I'm ignorant. So treat me like I'm a neophyte. Go on.
The children of Israel will start. The children of Israel will start to hear the word and start to obey it.
Go on. All right. And that's the children hearing the fathers. The book in the fathers. Come. Read it again now.
Come. The book of Malachi, chapter 4 and verse 6. And he shall turn the heart.
He shall turn the mind, go on,
of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers.
Because the fathers are the ones who are going to remind the children of who they are, and the minds of the children will be turned to the fathers to accept what the fathers are telling them. Yes, we are. No, we are who you said we are. We accept it. Because what happens is our people are not accepting what they're being told. Who are the fathers? Those who are going out on the street according to the word and telling the people who they are. The children's heart, it says, and the children and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth. So the word heart means mind. So their mind are going to be turned back to who they are because they're not receiving it. And only the fathers can turn, those who have the understanding of the word. Can't? Very heavy. I mean, it's beautifully written. That's why you'll notice that the other nations can't get this. They can't get this understanding. Can't? All right. So, any questions so far? All right, let's go to 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5 and 2. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 2. 1 Thessalonians 5 and 2.
The book of 1 Thessalonians, chapter 5 and verse 2.
Go on.
For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord,
That what?
that the day of the Lord
Go on.
so cometh as a thief in the night.
Comes as a thief in the night.
Come.
All right. So what does that mean to us? Because I mean, that's tied in to what we just read in Matthew. So it's suddenly, a thief doesn't let you know, he doesn't send you an invitation, I'm going to break into your house tonight. Right? He turns up when the moment is opportune for him. Yes, sir.
Grace and peace. The precept for that is Matthew 24, verse 42 and 43.
Let's read.
The book of Matthew, chapter 24, verse 43. It reads, "But know this, that if the good man of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house to be broken up. Therefore be ye also ready, for in such an hour as ye think not, the Son of Man cometh."
Come. All right. So let's where were we now? Go back, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, 2.
Yes, sir. 1 Thessalonians chapter 5 and verse 2. "For yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night.
Go on.
For when they shall say, peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them,
Read.
as travail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape.
Keep going.
But ye, brethren, are not in darkness, that day should overtake you as a thief. Ye are all the children of light, and the children of the day. We are not of the night, nor of darkness. Therefore, let us not sleep as do others, but let us watch and be sober.
Read.
For they that sleep, sleep in the night, and they that be drunken are drunken in the night.
Read.
But let us, who are of the day, be sober, putting on the breastplate of faith and love, and for a helmet of hope of salvation.
Helmet of what?
A helmet of hope and of salvation.
Go on.
For God have not appointed us to wrath.
Hold it. Read it again.
For God have not appointed us to wrath,
Read.
but to obtain salvation by our Lord Jesus Christ.
Romans 9 and 22. Quickly.
The book of Romans, chapter 9 and verse 22. It reads, what if God, willing to show his wrath and to make his power known, endured with much long suffering?
It did what?
Endured with much long suffering.
Go on.
The vessels of wrath.
The vessels of who?
The vessels of wrath.
Go on.
Fitted to destruction.
So who were the vessels of wrath? We just read it, did we not? Come on. All right. So let's go back. Let's read verse, is it 6? Matthew chapter 24, 25, and 6.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 6. And at midnight there was a cry made, behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps.
So when we read on a little bit more.
And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil.
All right, stop right there. Now, let's go and understand this just a little bit more clearly. Ephesians chapter 1 and 18, please.
Okay.
Ephesians chapter 1 and 18.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 1 and verse 18. The eyes of your understanding being enlightened, that ye may know what is the hope of his calling.
So this is not natural eyes, but it is spiritual eyes. Come on. Finish it.
And what the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints.
In who?
In the saints.
In the saints. So when we go back to Matthew chapter 25 and 7, it says, then all these virgins arose and trimmed their lamps. Who can explain what does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? What does that mean? Yes. Do what? Turn them up. All right. Yes, sir.
Grace and peace. They went forth and they went to the trimming their lances and going out to try to bring the word out.
Say that again.
Trimming their lances and going out to try to bring the word out to the people. And so when they were trying to trim up the light,
All right, you got a precept for that?
well,
All right. Psalms 23 and 3.
The book of Psalms, chapter 23 and verse 3. It reads, He restoreth my soul.
He did what?
He restoreth my soul.
He restored my soul. Go on.
He leadeth me in the paths of
He
righteousness.
did what?
He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness
Go on.
for his name's sake.
For his name's sake. Is that right?
Come.
All right. Go on.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of
No,
the...
that's what I want to. What are you going to say now?
and there was one I had, but I didn't think it fit. It was Proverbs 20:27, I think. The spirit of the man is a candle of the Lord, searching on the inner parts of the belly.
Yes. That's a good one. That's a good one. Well, go ahead.
Well, Proverbs 20 and 27. Come. The book of Proverbs, chapter 20 and verse 27. The spirit of man is the candle of the Most High, searching all the inward parts of the belly.
All right. John chapter 11 and 25.
Can we take a pause for a second so I can write that down?
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a good one. Okay, so hold on. That was
Proverbs chapter 20, verse 27.
John 11, 25.
The book of John, chapter 11 and verse 25. Jesus said unto her, I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead,
Though you were asleep,
yet shall he live.
yet shall you wake up back into your nationality. You see? Now, what we just read in Psalm, it said he restored my soul, meaning he restored us back to the knowledge that we needed to have. Because Christianity gave us a convoluted mindset. Christianity makes you think something is right even when it's not right. That's why in the churches, the so-called Christian church, right now you have homosexuals sitting in there on a Sunday with their arms around their whosoever's, and the pastor will not say a word about them. They will say not one, because Christianity, by its very essence, is the acceptance of all things. Christianity comes from Roman Catholicism. If you study, and I'm not talking about just with some reading, study in depth, it's from Roman Catholicism. That's why they never complained the moment that branched when they separated it from themselves. And this is why they look afar and see one in Christianity, and people say, well, we're not Roman Catholics, but those who know the history of it, you really are. You just don't know that you are. That's why many things that we thought was one way, under microscopic investigation, we realized that it's all been a lie. Con? All right. So let's go, if you please. Let's go to Acts chapter 24 and 14.
Yes, sir.
Acts 24 and 14. Let's go.
The book of Acts, chapter 24, verse 14.
Let's start to finish this up. Go on.
But this I confess unto thee, that after the way which they call heresy, so worship I the God of my fathers.
So worship I the God of my fathers. So we don't worship any other God, any other religion, only the God of our fathers. That's why we always said the God of who? Good. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's how we keep our close reference, not losing track of whom we are. Khan? Makes sense to you so far? Let's finish this up. So finish at 15.
Believing all things which are written in the law, And
believe in all things that are written where?
in the law,
Go on.
and in the prophets,
And where?
in the prophets,
Go on.
and have hope toward God, which they themselves also allow, that there shall be a resurrection,
That should be what?
that there shall be a resurrection of the dead.
Meaning, we are waking up out of sleep and we're becoming alive again.
Come.
That's why in Ezekiel chapter 37, it speaks about rising up and becoming an army of men.
Come.
Con?
Both of the just and unjust.
Just and the unjust. Right? Look, the wise and the foolish. All right. So go, if you please, to Romans chapter 10 and 15. No, 10 and 1.
Come. The book of Romans, chapter 10 and verse 1. It reads, Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved.
Notice, it's not speaking about anyone else, though. Oh, but it's for all of us. Read it again, sir.
Romans chapter 10 and verse 1. Brethren, my heart's desire and prayer to God for Israel is that they might be saved.
Go on.
For I bear them record that they have a zeal of God, but not according to knowledge.
Go on.
For they, being ignorant of God's righteousness, and going about to establish their own righteousness,
Go on.
have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God.
Read.
For Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believes.
Now, so this is what they use to say that the law has been extinguished.
Come.
So what is it saying, brothers and sisters? Because you need to get that. Otherwise, we can't even step any further, because we're dealing with the 5 wise and 5 foolish. So what does that mean? Go ahead, sir.
That Christ is the end of the law for righteousness, the end of the sacrificial law, or a particular law in that.
No, sacrificial law. You had your hand right on it. That's the end of the sacrificial law.
Come.
That's what that means. Continue.
Verse 5. Verse 5. For Moses describeth the righteousness which is of the law, that the man which doeth those things shall live by them.
Shall live by them. Come on. All right. I need to go here. Let's go to John. Let's go to John. Because otherwise, okay. I'm trying to finish this now, so let's finish this. John chapter 5 and 24.
Yes, sir. The book of John, chapter 5 and verse 24. It reads, Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word, and believeth on him that sent me, have everlasting life.
Have what?
Have everlasting life.
Go on.
And shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death unto life.
What does verily, verily mean? Surely, surely. But what does it mean?
Very definitely. Grace and peace. He's saying very definitely this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, but what does that mean? When he uses the word verily, verily, it means something. It means something. What does it mean? Go ahead, sir.
Covenant.
It's a covenant. So how do we prove it? What other verse do we use to prove it? What other scriptures do we use to prove it? Anyone? Anyone? Yes? Yes? No? Yes? No? 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 I don't want to call James, because I want James to kind of just receive, just to coax through with this one. You're just the sidebar this week, James. We'll let you sidebar for a little while, so don't worry about that. So who can tell me, how can you prove it? Anyone? Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
Would it be John 3:16?
Well, let's read it. Let's see what it says. I know what it says, but let's just read it.
Come, the book of John, chapter 3 and verse 16, it reads, For God so loved the world, that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. I think they're trying to precept John 5:24, but yeah, it's in the precept, or to expound on what verily means.
Oh.
But what you said, by the way, it's not wrong, because you have proven that it's John 3:16 said,
For God so loved the world,
God so loved the world,
that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.
and in the middle clause of John chapter 5 and 24, it said,
Come, verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word, and believeth on him that sent me, have everlasting life.
That's why, as I said, I couldn't say that you were wrong. It's a good script. But the key is the very. Yes, sir.
Grace and peace. Hebrews 10, 16, and 17.
Let's go.
Hebrews 10, 16, and 17. The book of Hebrews, chapter 10, verse 16. This is the covenant that I will make with them after those days, saith the Lord. I will put my laws into their hearts, and in their minds will I write them. And their sins and iniquities will I remember no more.
That's good. That's also very good. And but the key word that I want is the verily, verily. Did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I have one scripture. It's you told me 7:9.
Say again.
Oh, Deuteronomy, chapter 7, verse
7 and 9.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 9. It reads, Know therefore that Yahweh thy God, he is God, the faithful God, which keepeth covenant and mercy with them that love him, and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations.
That's good too.
May I say one?
What?
Grace and peace. How about John 8:51?
The book of John, chapter 8 and verse 51. Verily, verily, I say unto you, if a man keep my saying, he shall never see death.
That's good. That's good too. All right. Well, I'm going to have to move on and make you have to find that one. I'm definitely not going to drop that one out. I think you have to look that one.
It's like I can't expound a little bit.
Go ahead.
I'm piggybacking off of Yasharala. He said that was covenant. Verily, verily is covenant. Just to remind you guys. The other one was talking about what does verily, verily mean? And Yasharala said it means covenant. But he wants a precept for that. What does verily, verily mean?
All right. Let's go back. Let's finish up Mark 25.
Matthew 25.
Matthew 25.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25, verse 7.
8.
The book of Matthew, chapter 25, and verse 8. And the foolish said unto the wise, Give us of your oil, for our lamps are gone out.
So, what is that saying now? Because of time, I won't precept this, so I'll accept what you tell me. So, what is that saying now? Mm-hmm. Yes, ma'am.
It seems as if,
Grace and peace.
it seems as if the foolish recognize that they've been wrong all along.
Uh-huh.
Like, oh, we got it wrong. We let's
Mhm.
continue to push church.
Right.
Like, they missed it.
Yes.
And they remember, like, those prophets that were in the streets. And so that would be the wise.
Yeah.
And now they're saying, okay, do what you got, tell me what you know.
Yeah.
Or make me understand,
Who will make you understand?
give me understanding
Right. From who?
from the wise to the foolish.
Right. But the wise are not there, so who are they going to?
The wise are not there, who they're going to.
Well, because the wise are not there. All right. Read it again.
Come, Matthew chapter 25 and verse 8. And the foolish said unto the wise, give us of your oil,
Right.
for our lamps are gone out.
And the time will come that we will say, no, we can't do that. It's done. There's no more giving out any more oil.
Mm.
So then, what will they do?
Yes.
Go ahead.
They will try to seek the Most High.
Yes, they will. But how? The prophets are gone. How?
They'll be calling on the Most High and trying to call on the High.
How?
Through prayer.
All right. Let's read verse 9.
Verse 9. But the wise answered, saying, not so, lest there be not enough for us and you. But go ye rather to them that sell, and buy for yourselves.
All right. So who are the them?
The Edomites.
I'd love to be able to say yes, but it is yes to some degree. But we will go where? Where? Not we, but where will people go if they can't get it from those that they knew? There are people who know where we are right now. They know our location. But a time's going to come, we won't be on that street. This will be shut down, and people won't know where to find the prophets. There will be a famine in the world for this truth. So where will they go?
To their own churches.
Where?
To the different churches.
That's where they're going. Right back into Christianity. They're going right back there. And they would, those who are in Christ would think, this is the act of the Most High God. They'll think that this is a blessing, a season, favor. But no. That's why we read earlier, when people will cry out something and safety, there will come sudden destruction. So let's go back. Let's read what we got. Let's read verse 10.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 10. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came, and they that were ready went in with him to the marriage, and the door was shut.
Now, notice what happens. When they go back to Christianity, let's just hit that before we leave it. What is the thing that Christianity pushes? What's the thing that they push? They push it hard and they still push it to this day. What do they push? Go ahead, man.
Prosperity.
Prosperity. Or they'll say this. Those of you that have $100, bring $100 right now, and the Most High God is going to bless you in 3 days. That is the selling or the pushing of the oil in an unjustifiable way. They're trying to sell the oil. Now it's funny how when your eyes are open to this, you begin to see things completely different.
It sounds that order.
So when we read again, read what you just read, please.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 10. And while they went to buy, the bridegroom came.
So when they went to those other churches, go on.
And they that were ready
Those that were ready did what?
went in with him to
They were beamed up into the chariots. Go on.
to the marriage, and the door was shut.
And the what?
And the door was shut.
And the door was shut. Genesis chapter 7, 15. Absolutely. Genesis chapter 7 and 15. Let's read.
Come, the book of Genesis, chapter 7 and verse 15. It reads, and they went in unto Noah into the ark.
Into what?
Into the ark.
Go on.
2 and 2 of all flesh.
Now, at some point, I'm going to teach all about the flood all over again. I told it years and years ago, but go on.
Wherein is the breath of life. And they that went in male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him. And Yahweh shut him in.
He did what?
And Yahweh shut him
He
in.
shut him in. So remember, once the Most High shuts that door, you can't do nothing about it. Because as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in the end. So people came running up to the ark after it was shut, banging, let me in. I don't know what this thing is called rain that's coming down. Because remember, they'd never seen rain before. They had never seen it before. Well, just like in the day when he comes, they'll say, please, beam me up. I've never seen all of this destruction, hell raining down on us before. And can you imagine what America's going to be like? There is not going to be one, and again, I keep telling people this because they seem to think that there'll be destruction, but there'll still be some structures left. Every structure that stands will be brought low. Why? Because that's what they did to us. They said, raise it to the ground.
That's right.
That's what Esau said to us. So do you think we're not going to render them double? According to the scriptures. There will be, every building you see here in Houston will be torn right down. New York, right down. LA, Chicago, you name the city. There will be not one stone left on top of another. Because for the likelihood that no one's going to be able to live beneath it. You will be dead. It will become your graveyard. Come? Yes.
Us reading and seeing what's to come from Matthew 24.
Say that one more time.
Us reading on the Sabbath and learning about what's going on just from Matthew 24. When we see the wrecks in Australia or the building falling in Florida, or they keep talking about the chariots in the news, we are wise enough to see it for what it is.
Absolutely. Because the oil that's in you bears witness to what we're seeing, according to the oil from this book.
That's right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Go on, Doctor.
Verse 11. Matthew chapter 25, verse
In fact,
11.
before we do it, let's give another witness to the shutting. Go to Revelation chapter 3. Begin at 7.
Come. The book of Revelation, chapter 3 and verse 7. And to the angel of the church in Philadelphia write, these things saith he that is holy, he that is true, he that hath the key of David.
Go on.
He that openeth, and no man shutteth.
Read.
And shutteth, and no man openeth.
Go on.
I know thy works. Behold, I have set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. For thou hast a little strength, and hast kept my word, and hast not denied my name.
What verse?
That was, I'm about to go in verse 9.
No, it's not. So you see then, it's letting you know clearly that when he closes the door, that's it. The door is closed. There's no getting away there. It's over. Come on. Let's read on, sir.
Matthew chapter 25 and verse 11. Afterward came also the other virgins, saying, Lord, Lord, open to us. But he answered and said,
Right, before you go there, let's go to John chapter 9, verse 31.
The book of John, chapter 9 and verse 31. Now we know that God heareth not sinners.
He does what?
Now we know that God heareth not sinners.
They're going to be classified as sinners at that point.
Come.
Those who come afterwards. Because remember, they would have left the churches thinking, well, we've got some oil now. So they who once knew the truth, they're now going to go and try to now, here I am, save me.
Come.
But too late. Because they will be destroyed along with everyone else. So, read it again, sir.
John chapter 9 verse 31. Now we know that God heareth not sinners.
He heareth not sinners, go on.
But if any man be a worshiper of God and doeth his will,
Go on.
him he heareth.
Him he hears. Go ahead.
So like, yeah. Who remembers the movie Knowing with Nicolas Cage?
Yes.
Remember the movie Knowing with Nicolas Cage? This is a prime precept right here. His son, even though they're Edomites, his son heard the word. The father didn't hear the word. So the angel saved the son, and the father knew that he couldn't hear the word, he couldn't come with him. And he was being up into the chariot with the angels. And Nicolas Cage, being the father, was left, and he drove back to his father's house where they all were destroyed with hellfire. Perfect precept.
Yeah. Except for the fact that it was
Edom.
It was Esau.
And Amalek. Come.
Yeah. All right. So let's go to Mark chapter 13.
The book, chapter Mark.
Mark 13 and 32.
Come. Book of Mark, chapter 13 and verse 32.
13:32.
Come. It reads, But of that day and that hour knoweth no man.
So no man knows the day, no man knows the hour. Go on.
Not the angels.
Not who?
Not the angels.
Go on.
Which are in heaven.
Which are in heaven. Go on.
Neither the Son but the Father. Take ye heed, watch and pray, for ye know not when the time is.
All right, we'll stop there. Let's go back. Let's just read through the last two verses, 12 and 13, then we conclude.
Yes, sir. Matthew chapter 25 and verse 12. But he answered and said, Verily I say unto you, I know you not. Watch therefore, for ye know neither the day nor the hour wherein the Son of Man cometh.
All right, so that's the 10 virgins. Any questions from anyone, both here or online? Any questions, please? Yes, ma'am.
Grace and peace.
Grace and peace.
In back in chapter 25 and verse 7, I still am trying to get an understanding of trimming their lamps.
Mm-hmm. And chapter 7?
In chapter 25 verse 7, the
Mm-hmm.
virgins who, it says they all trim their lamps.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to, did they all lean on their own understanding? Is that what that meant?
All right, let's read from 6 and 7.
Come, the book of Matthew, chapter 25 and verse 6. And at midnight there was a cry made, Behold, the bridegroom cometh, go ye out to meet him. Then all those virgins arose and trimmed their lamps.
Now, let's understand trimming the lamp is concerned. What is that? Can anyone tell me? Who's old school enough to know what trimming a lamp is? Anyone? Go ahead, sir.
When you trim the lamp, you turn it on. When you turn it on, you get ready to
That's not. I'm surprised you as a Benjamite don't know that, Doctor.
Trim is like you get ready. You get
No. Let's get you out of that hole and all right. Yes, sir.
Is that why they cut the wick so that you can light it easier?
But yes, indeed, because what happens is it develops carbon.
Yeah.
So you have to, literally, that's why I said, trim the lamp. You've got to cut some things away. You've got to cut some things away. And the things that you're cutting away now makes it easier that it can take flame better.
So when we trim the lamps, we're letting the word trim away the crap in us that's keeping us away from Him.
That's one way of putting it.
I mean, I know it's kind of garish, but very direct this way.
Yeah, because when you trim the lamp and you cut away that dark section of it, now you have fiber, and you light the fiber, and that creates light, and you find the light burns brighter. You see, so that's what that is about. But give me a scripture. Give me a scripture.
One from Daniel that said the children of the kingdom will shine brighter and brighter. Con.
Where is it?
Daniel chapter. But,
We'll find it. Tell me. You become Americanized, Doctor. That's called falling under the philosophies of America. Well, it's no different from someone who was country. You know, someone who was from country, they understood trimming lamps and so on. But when you become Americanized and mechanized by the system, you put away that memory. All right, go ahead. That sounds like it. That sounds like it. Daniel chapter 1 and 20. Let's read.
Book of Daniel, chapter 1 and verse 20. And in all matters of wisdom and understanding, that the king inquired of them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and astrologers that were in all his realm.
So that's a good scripture for us to know that we are 10 times better than. Now, the reason, back to your question, man, it doesn't matter if you trim the lamp, if you've got nothing to burn, you're still left in the same position. You can only trim the lamp and still have something to burn. That's why when it said, then all these virgins arose and trimmed their lamps, and the foolish said unto the wise. Because it was at this point that they realized, we've trimmed the lamp, we've got nothing to put in it. Or nothing's been put in us. So we have to go somewhere to get something put in us. So at this point, that they turned around and said, give us of your oil. Give us what you know. And for our lamps are gone out. You see, now, the reason why you have to look at this, and again, time did not allow it, because this really is a heavy teaching. It can keep going on. But if I had to go into it a little bit more deeper, it would be this, that, and I mentioned it earlier on as a preface, when a man or woman starts to lose their oil, you will see less and less of it. The words that they speak become less and less like the words that are of kingdom to candidates. And so after this point, it's not that they did not know that their oil was going out. They took it for granted. There are some people who, it's like being in Christianity. In Christianity, people take it for granted. That, well, I'm going to heaven. I'm going to make it. Why? I'm saved.
Yeah.
They use the word I'm saved. And the Bible yet tells us the only way that you can be saved is that you have to endure to the end.
That's right.
So we've been taught some false doctrine that has masqueraded as truth, but really has been a lie. And that's why you can now see the importance of us reaching our brothers and sisters. We should not hesitate to bring our brothers and sisters.
Come.
Because if we know that they need this thing and we don't do it, their blood
That's it.
is on us.
Come.
We knew better.
Right.
As a leader, my job is to make sure that I don't convolute this thing, don't mix it up with rubbish. And let me explain to you, let me see if I can make that more clearer. You all drive cars. I guarantee you, if whatever gas you put in your car, if you were to go to the gas station and you're putting petrol in your car, as you're putting it in, there are 3 sections it gives you: the low grade, the middle grade, and the high grade.
Yes.
I promise you, if you put high grade petrol in your car, when you drive that car, the performance of it changes. Like, wow, it's like a new car. Because what's in the high grade oil, all of the things that would, the impurities have been taken out. You get pure gasoline. With the other, it's a little bit mixed up, so you'll drive your car, but you're not going to be able to zoom along. High performance cars require high performance fuel. Israel requires high performance fuel. That's why the teaching cannot be convoluted. We have to give it to you as what the scripture says. And that's why sometimes when we teach it, it sounds raw. It sounds hard. And it's the skill then of the teacher to either say it in a way that does not bring offense to some of us. Because if we were to teach this word the way that it was really written, I think some of us would find it hard to take it. It would be very, very hard for some to take it. Because we've been so Christianized that we're thinking, when I was in Christianity, they didn't teach it like that. I mean, he used nice words, and my soul felt uplifted. That's not what it's about. It's not what it's about. Yes, sir. I see your hand. Let's go. Proverbs 4 and 18.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 4 and verse 18, it reads, "But the path of the just is as the shining light that shineth more and more unto the perfect day."
Unto the perfect day. Selah. Oh, God. All right. So that's beautifully put there. That's gone. All right. Yes, beginning with yourself at the back there. Daniel. All right. Isaiah.
That one, and she called it as a spirit. Daniel 12:3.
Daniel 12:3. Let's see if this is the one.
Daniel chapter 12 and verse 3.
12 and 3. Hold on. 12 and 3. Let me quickly see this. And yes, that's to be back. Yeah. Good.
The book of Daniel chapter 12 and verse 3. "And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament."
Absolutely. Beautiful. Go on.
And they,
from the top.
Daniel chapter 12 and verse 3. "And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many unto righteousness as the stars forever and ever."
We read this earlier. So it says that they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. So it's right there. It's telling you that if you turn our brothers and our sisters to this truth, it says what? What did the latter clause say?
And they that turn many to righteousness, as the stars, forever and ever.
Ever and ever. So it's important then that we must be our brother's keeper. You must be bringing your sisters. You must be bringing your brothers. You have to be a true disciple. Come on?
Come on.
Yes, sir.
Just one more. Matthew 13:43.
Matthew 13:43. Let's read.
The book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 43. It reads, Then shall the righteous shine forth as the sun in the kingdom of their Father. Who have ears to hear, let them hear.
Let them hear. Come. All right. No other questions from anyone online? All right. So since we have no questions from anyone online, we hope that this teaching has been a blessing to you. We hope that it continues to uplift you, to gird you up, and to put you in a position to hearken, to listen to what the Most High is telling you in these late hours of His coming. We're in the late hours. We're in the final moments of time. I'd like to encourage all of you to continue to subscribe, to like, and to share this teaching. Share it with your friends and neighbors. And when I say neighbors, I'm speaking about those who are of Israel. And again, for those of you that do watch us, if you happen to be living in the Houston area, I know some of you have been listening to us for years, but make it a moment. Come down and celebrate with us. Come down and celebrate with us. We look forward to having you, and certainly we will break bread together. On behalf of myself and Captain, if you would mind taking it away.
I want to give all honor and glories to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushai. Also give a double honors to other one that's bringing out this truth to the four corners, that all Israel may be saved, thus saith the Most High. Also want to give a shout out to those brothers who are afar, who are of our camp, of Officer Rabba in Dallas, Texas. Also Brother Salaki Rashan in Arizona, Phoenix, Arizona. To Brother Azariah in London, UK, and Brother Dominic in London, Sherfield. And to all the Aquas and Akim out there, that they please continue to search out our brethren and our sisters to find out what you must do in order to be under the Most High and keep His law, statutes, commandments, right? To show love, like we said earlier today, that we must show love to our brothers, right? These are the foundational teachings that we bring out, so we understand what we must do in order to show love and support to our brethren and show honors and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua.
Not forgetting also our brothers over in Africa, in Kenya, as well as
in
Nairobi. Please continue.
So we again, please like, share, and subscribe on our YouTube page, also on our Instagram, also on our Facebook. And also please continue to give alms, those who are giving. I give you a hearty shalom, and also barakatah Yahweh for doing so. And for those who are still getting themselves girded up, please know that you're doing it for this truth, so that all Israel can be saved, according to Paul. So before we leave, you always say Yahweh, Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushai. Say love. All praise.
All right. So